Well, guys, Ciryl Gane won a pretty lopsided main event last night against a Rozenstruik who honestly didn't really show up. Nick and I are talking about that fight and what's next for Gane right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, the main event last night, I was expecting a bit more, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
I thought that, Rozenstruik is just known as an absolute heavy-handed monster.
Right.
Ciryl Gane is an athletic, technical, very crisp and sharp striker. I thought we were going to have a good dynamic matchup, but the reality is it seemed like Rozenstruik really couldn't find his timing and was a bit afraid to rush in and engage and kind of bring the fight to Gane.
Yeah, and, we had all these great heavyweight matches, main events taking place at the beginning of this year. Last week we had Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades. The week before that, we were stacked with heavyweight fights. And this one was kind of the end of the main event heavyweight fights, at least for right now, until later on. And it just didn't deliver. It's hard to compete with things like the uppercut Derek Lewis landed and all the great fights that we've had this year in the heavyweight division. But this one was a bit of a dud. And yeah, you're right. Rozenstruik never seemed to find his footing. He never seemed to be able to find any shots on Gane. And credit to Gane on that. That was good. He did move well. He seemed to be feeling himself in his groove. Seemed a little bit like he feels like he's invincible largely because he's undefeated. But after the second round, I have to say that Rozenstruik was mentally defeated and mentally checked out. And I don't think that even he thought he was going to win come the beginning of round 3 and on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with Gane, he did show a lot of skill as far as his I was most impressed with his jab. I think his jab is very good. It's very crisp, and he throws it very hard and well-timed.
He's athletic for the division, too.
Very, very much so. And he's light on his feet. He bounces around. You see most heavyweights come out kind of flat-footed and just looking for those power shots, and it's very effective for a lot of them. But with Gane, he takes a bit of a different approach. He's kind of got a Muhammad Ali bounce around sort of style.
With a Thai cadence a little bit. Rozenstruik's not known for kicking very much in the legs, but he did throw a couple of leg kicks, and Gane was able to check some of them, which discouraged Rozenstruik from striking the bottom half of the body. But
yeah, his Muay Thai is very good. If I'm critical of one thing that Gane does is he keeps his chin extraordinarily high. I noticed that last night, and he's going to have to address, because now he's moving up to the top 5 of the division. He's talking about title shots, albeit Dana White was not impressed with the performance last night. He was vocal about how he did not enjoy the main event. He thought it was not the fight that it was supposed to be.
Right.
So I think that's going to put Gane a couple of fights away from a title shot rather than on the fast track.
Right.
Whereas if he had just gotten the KO, he probably would have been on a bit of a faster track. But if he's got to address this high-held chin, because if he gets in there with Francis, if he gets in there with Derek, even if he gets in there with Stipe, he's going to get knocked out. If you keep your chin too high against Francis or Derek, you're going to go to sleep. Plain as day.
Yeah, and Rozenstruik's a little bit slower than those guys.
Yeah.
And while he does have crazy one-punch knockout power, he doesn't get to the target near as quick as some of those guys. Even a Curtis Blades moves a little quicker than Rozenstruik. And like you said, I think if he doesn't address that, keep his chin a little bit lower, maybe move a little bit less. He's still good with the in and out, and he was moving well last night. But if he can address that defense a little bit more, and he virtually didn't get touched last night, but I would less credit that to his flawless performance and more discredit Rozenstruik for just not showing up.
Yeah, and I think what last night exposed largely was the fact that Rozenstruik is not he has a lot to work on in his game. Yeah. And he's a guy that is, we see this a lot. People that have extremely heavy hands, that have a lot of power, that all they need to do is find one punch, and they rack up a lot of knockouts. They rack up a lot of big wins early in their career. But as they start to go with the best of the best and get put in the octagon with guys who are more technical, crisper, have a more well-rounded game, the fact that they don't have a very well-rounded game starts to get a bit exposed.
Yeah, and their lack of experience in time-wise in the octagon or in the cage, for that matter, is a real thing. Rozenstruik's known for knocking people out in the first 10, 20, 30 seconds of the fight. So when you do that, and you do it a handful of times in your career, you're only accumulating a couple of minutes worth of experience, and that's difficult. And it showed last night come round 3, round 4, round 5, where he had no answers. He had no more tricks up his sleeve, and he was just kind of mentally defeated. He was checked out. He was like, I'm not landing anything. Now I'm tired, so I'm not moving near as quick, and I'm getting frustrated. He was looking for any way to win rounds, even if it came by the referee taking points for eye pokes and crotch shots, which, obviously those need to be addressed, and Ciryl Gane needs to do a little bit better job of keeping his hands closed and try to hit the stomach instead of the crotch when he's going for body shots. But
one of those knees was clean, by the way.
Yeah,
it was a clean knee to the belly button.
Yeah,
but I guess Herb.
The angle is hard to read because I had to watch it from a couple of angles to know that it was a clean shot. But in the moment, it's hard for the referee. We don't really ever try to blame them because they have a very difficult job. But I certainly think that Rozenstruik needs to do some reevaluating and maybe pull a little bit of that weight off so he can become a quicker heavyweight.
Which was so funny to me. Gane seems to be the right size for a heavyweight champion.
Big boy.
He's a big boy, but he's in that 240 to 245. I think he weighed in 247 all said and done. But that 240 to 250 range seems to be the sweet spot for heavyweight champions. When you think of Cain Velasquez, Stipe Miocic, they're around that 240 mark.
Yeah, and he's kind of got a body like Anthony Joshua. He's ripped
he almost kind of looks like Anthony Joshua in a way. He's in incredible shape. And I think the fact that the thing that surprised me was that Rozenstruik was almost 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
He was in the high 250s, mid 250s, I believe. I can't remember exactly what he weighed in, but he certainly looked like the smaller person. So I think he can trim down a little bit. The bottom line is, if he wants to be a main event fighter, and if he and people know who he is now, people are fans of him. Biggie Boy is a cool name. I get it.
He's
like
getting
him.
A lot of hype out of Suriname.
So I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah,
he's the first Surinese fighter, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. And it's just, I had to look up the country. I never even heard of it. It's in South America. The population's 500,000, and it's got a lot of Dutch influence.
And they got
fun
a guy.
fact for you guys there. And they got Rozenstruik fighting there. So, I think he needs to spend 6 months to 9 months really just getting in his groove of strengthening the weak parts of his game, because when you're talking about the highest of the high levels in the UFC, one punch KO power is not going to be the only thing that does it for you.
No.
Francis saw that against Stipe the first time. He's since revised his game. We'll see how he does the second time around. But just having the power is not going to carry you all the way to the belt.
Yeah, and as we've seen last night with Ciryl Gane and some of the other guys that have fought in the last couple of weeks in the heavyweight division, the new breed of heavyweights are an exciting bunch of guys, and they move very well. They're complete mixed martial artists, and you don't want to get passed up by them because, you're in there with them, and right now there's a lot of legends, but there's also a lot of guys that are on their way up to the top 10, and they move very well, both on the ground, on the feet. They do everything pretty well, and you just don't want to get left behind the pack.
Somebody who's really proved themselves as very technical, and I do kind of put Gane in that technician as far as striker goes role, is Alexander Volkov. And I would, he's got, the Volkov has losses to Derek Lewis. So I don't think he's going to get, and to Curtis Blades as well. So I don't think he's going to get fast tracked to a title shot. I don't think after last night that Ciryl Gane should be fast tracked to a title shot or be able to fight Derek for that matter. I think Derek is a little bit more advanced and shouldn't be given Gane. I think Derek deserves a better fight than that. So I would like to see Alexander Volkov versus Ciryl Gane, two tall, young, technical heavyweights. I think that would be a great matchup.
Wow. As soon as you said his name, I was like, I really hope he starts to talk about that being a fight they should make. They should absolutely make that fight. It's a true test for Ciryl Gane because Volkov is an absolute world beater. I personally think he's one of the most skilled heavyweights on the planet and has the skills to become the champion in the next 24 to 36 months. I like you said, if Derek Lewis is number 2, Rozenstruik was number 3, and now I would presume that Ciryl Gane takes that number 3 spot. There's a big gap between number 2 and number 3, and I think maybe the gap would be slightly smaller if Volkov were able to beat Ciryl Gane and take that number 3 spot. But as of right now, you got the champ. you got Francis, you got Derek, and then you got everybody else a little ways down the road.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Volkov, we saw in that fight with Derek, for all intents and purposes, he was winning that fight and then he got caught. I think Volkov could be in that conversation. And I do believe he's a good fight for Gane, because I think that Gane's got a lot of steam behind him now. And if Volkov's able to get past him, his stock rises. But also, more importantly than that, he's going to bring the fight to Gane.
Yeah.
He's not going to allow Gane to just stay on the outside and pick him apart. No. Volkov's very tall. His boxing is crisp, and he will attack Gane like he attacked Alistair Overeem, and Gane will have no choice but to fight. Yeah. So it will be a much more exciting matchup that I think it could end up being fight of the night. And I actually see that fight going into the later rounds. I think that'd be a really good fight that would go 4 or 5 rounds in a main event type of situation.
Yeah, and Ciryl Gane is for sure touted as a hot prospect for the UFC. 7-0, already main eventing shows, already winning, feels like a world beater. And I think he has a promising career ahead of him. He's just got to address some of those issues that he's got as far as excitement and being just a little bit green as far as a mixed martial artist. But I'm very excited to see what he does, and I think your call for Volkov versus Gane is the absolute fight to make.
Got to bring that chin down before you fight Derek or Francis.
Yeah, and by the way, he won't have much of a height advantage like he had against Rozenstruik if he fights Volkov.
Very true. He might have a height disadvantage.
All right.
Guys, let us know, do you like the matchup, Volkov versus Gane? What did you think of the performance last night? Did it not live up quite to the expectations that it did for us? Let us know in the comments. We always love engaging with you guys there. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. That helps us out tremendously, guys. Until the next video, have a great day.
Peace.